So today we're going to be doing a turbo. I can't find anything online about these, so let's make a video and see what happens. It's going to be a turbo on a Kia Sportage 2013, so it's the 1.7 diesel, which I think is also used by Hyundai. So let's get into it and see if we can replace this turbo. So I did want to check that the oil feed is pumping out oil before we remove the turbo, but I just can't really get to it with the turbo in the way, so I'm going to take the turbo off. The turbo has failed, so because it's failed it doesn't really matter, one way or another it's going to need to come off, so we'll just take it off, and then I'm just going to crank the engine and see if we get any oil coming out of the oil feed line. But yeah, let's see how we get on. So clearly turbo sits here. I've disconnected the cold air feed, and the turbo is seized, so I'm not sure if I don't think there's going to be visual, but I tried to spin the impeller just in there and it doesn't want to spin. So the turbo seized, so step one, got to replace the turbo, but before you even do that you need to understand why it's seized. So it can happen because of bad oil or oil starvation, lack of oil. So the first thing I want to try and do is disconnect the oil feed and see if it's pumping out oil. If it is, we'll go with just the turbo, but if it's not pumping out oil, it's going to need an oil pump, which, well, that's a much bigger job. So we've managed to get the oil return pipe off down there. Pretty sure there's a feed which runs alongside it. I don't know if you can see that. I think that pipe that runs alongside it must be the feed. They're sort of separated, but they sort of only they're sort of fitted together. Although they are actually separate pipes. Can't see any other sort of oil inlet outlet, so that must be the one, I guess. Disconnected the hose, so we've got the intercooler pipe just to disconnect there, which isn't difficult, obviously. It's got a Jubilee clip on it, it's just a bit of a pain to get to. We've got that, then we've got one, two, and then you've got three fixings there, 1, 2, 3. And hopefully that comes out. So it's not that easy to sort of get to the oil feed pipe, and I was hoping I could just take it off and maybe I could get in there, but you just can't really see anything. So what I'm going to do is I should just get turbo out. The turbo's failed anyway, it's seized, which I'll show you once I get it out. So one way or another the turbo needs to come out, so I think once it's out I might just try and turn it over a couple of clicks and just see that oil pumps out, but let's see if we can get it out first. So we've got nearly everything out. We're resting on one nut here, or we're rested on the stud with one nut left just to take off. These two are cracked off. The intercooler pipe, it's not disconnected, but I've released the Jubilee clip, so that should just pull off. And the oil feed return underneath, I've managed to get the two, I think they were 10 mils out. So I've done this all from the top, so yeah, you can do this from the top. The oil feed might be easier from underneath if you had a ramp, but you'd need a really long extension or a load of extensions, but I did manage to do it from the top, so it is possible. And there you go. So yeah, so as I expected, you've got the oil feed and return. Looks like it's about, so you've got two separate pipes here, but they sort of go into one sort of flange. The strange looking bit here, so I'm pretty sure that must be the feed and return, because I definitely didn't remove any other pipes. Intercooler, bit of oil around there, exhaust, and then manifold. So there was a stud here, goes at the back, so if you can imagine with the turbo fitted here, there was a stud there, which I would never have got the nut on or off without removing all this, but didn't have a nut on it, so I'm wondering, it's done 100,000 miles, what's the chance of this being its second turbo? Because why else would that nut not be fitted? I don't know. And here we are. So here's the turbo itself. So that's as it came out. And let's see if you can see this impeller now. So there you go, I've got my finger in there. So this is how you would test a turbo. So one, you sort of just grab it here, give it a wiggle. You shouldn't really wiggle. That's how you can tell that the bearing's gone. And the second thing that can happen is they seize, and this is a seized one. So the concern is it seized because of lack of oil starvation. Which is why before I fit the new one, I need to check if this is again oil. So I've got an idea on how to check that. Here is my genius contraption. So I've just got a clear bag over it. I'm just going to get my girlfriend to start the engine and see if some oil comes out of there. Hopefully it does. If oil comes out of there, I'll assume the pump is working. This is obviously going to be defying gravity going upwards. I'll assume the pump is working and that we're safe to turn the to replace the turbo. Well, apart from it sounding like a tractor, we do seem to have some oil coming out, so I'd say that's maybe working. So that was noisy, wasn't it? But yeah, it looks like oil is being pumped up through the oil feed pipe. So just need to make sure oil is coming up. Obviously, with gravity, it's all going to drain out. But yeah, after a couple of seconds, you can see some oil being pumped out into my bag. They're not high pressure or anything. So yeah, I think it's 30 or 40 psi or something. You can see the bag inflating. But yeah, I'd say that if oil is being pumped upwards, I'd assume that's good enough. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like it's been serviced in a while, so maybe it was just poor quality oil, contaminated oil maybe. I don't know. Either way, definitely oil getting to it, and I think that's all I can do really. Other than that, I'll replace the turbo. So, just for reference, here's the new one we've got. It's reconditioned, but let me see your finger in. See how easy that spins. Save that. There you go. Just put your finger in. It spins nice and easy. I'm trying to show you the easiest way, but without getting my hand in the way. But yeah, there you go. Spins nice and freely. No movement in there. And that's what it should be like. So as you can see, there's a slight difference in these turbos. In how they come on, they do look like the same turbo, but I'm just going to have to swap off this pipe that goes to the intercooler, put that on there. And annoyingly, it looks like there's a stud here, which isn't on the new one there. Just going to have to take that off, which could be a bit of a pain. Swap over that for a new Jubilee clip there, and it should be ready to fit. Next, I've cleaned the surfaces. So I've brushed this, cleaned around the intercooler pipe. Next, we're going to get our gaskets. So we're going to put our gaskets on. Quite good. Looks like we've got everything there. So I don't know why we've got 4 studs here, because we've only got 2 on the turbo. Maybe you've got a couple spares. I do think this engine is in the Hyundai as well. So I would expect it to be pretty much identical, but maybe there's some reason why the Hyundai would have studs instead of a bolt. I don't know, but anyway, what is useful is this. So what you want to do is you want to prime the turbo. So you stick a little bit of oil in the oil feed, and you just spin the impeller, try and get some oil in there before you stick it in. So I think that will be the next thing I'll do. So to make sure the turbo doesn't run dry, we filled up this little syringe that came with the kit with a little bit of oil, which I poured into there. I've poured it into the oil feed and turned the impeller just with my fingers. So hopefully there's a bit of oil in there now. So I think next we'll stick on the new gaskets, and then that's it. Hopefully we'll be ready to go. So finally things are going back in. It's been a bit more of a challenge than I expected. So I've got the two bolts, one here on the other side. I've got those two bolts in. I mean, they're just finger tight, but they're in. Obviously these two, so I put the stud in afterwards, as I said I would, so it made things a bit easier, I think. One thing I have done, which I didn't mention, was I've dropped the intercooler pipe. So it's there hanging, so it's just two 10mm. Here, easy to get to once you get the under tray off. Just take those two and it will just drop. So I've done that because it was so hard trying to get the oil feed / return pipe here. It's a little bit rigid. I mean, there's a bit of movement in it, but not a whole lot, and you don't really want to move it too much anyway. But that was quite difficult to get those two 10mm in, so I ended up dropping it to just get a bit more movement, and we got there in the end. But if you're thinking that you might do this on a driveway without a ramp, yes, you can, as I've proven. You can do it, but honestly, this oil feed, oil return, I mean, it's right under there. And there's one on the other side. The one on the other side is probably easier than that one, to be honest. But anyway, got it in, so just going to try and bolt it up. Yeah, again, it's not a bad job. What is it? Those two, those three. There's a nut on the other side of this, which is a bit annoying, but it's not the end of the world. And then that's it. The rest is just the pipes. So let's get them done up and see what happens. So the second worst thing about this, first obviously being the oil feed, oil return pipe, but there's a nut just around there. I can even get it. You can just see the top of it, top of that copper nut. That is the second most annoying one. I can get it from this side. Not sure if you can really see it much. I don't know, but yeah. Well, there you go, that nut there. Really, really annoying. And also it didn't have that nut on when we took it off, so I'm assuming someone's changed this turbo before. But the turbo didn't look particularly new, it looked really old, so I wonder if they just stuck a used one on, hope for the best, and it was, you know, buggered or something. There's definitely the seals inside that other turbo are definitely gone, because there seems to be oil inside it. So and we checked the oil pump, seems to be pumping, so yeah, new turbo. Just got to connect the pipes, we should be good. And that is one replaced turbo. So I've managed to get the intercooler pipe back on, which was actually surprisingly difficult, just awkward because it kept dropping. Anyway, nothing too special about it, it's just a bit awkward doing it on your own. Everything's tightened up, blah blah blah, reconnected that. So the only thing left to do is the cold air intake. So I'm going to refit that, but I'm doing a service. So the other thing is that it's always good practice to put fresh oil in when you change the turbo, particularly the fact that this is seized. It looks like the oil feed was working, so or the oil pump was working, because you're getting oil out of the oil feed, I mean. So we will assume that it was poor quality oil. Also the fact that the turbo was swapped out previously, so there was a nut missing, and you could tell that it had been changed. It was obviously just a poor quality one. It's on 110,000 miles this, so you wouldn't expect it to go through 2 and onto its third turbo in 110,000 miles. So anyway, good practice to change the oil, make sure good oil, and this oil does look quite old. Last service was, as per the service book, about 30,000 miles ago. So right, so I won't show you the oil change, but oil filter, some plugs underneath, and then I'll refit the cold air pipe, and yeah, hopefully we can take it for our drive. So I didn't intend to go into too much detail about the oil change side of it, but just remove the oil filter. Look at the state of this. I don't think I've ever seen one as bad as this. So, what is going on? To me, that doesn't look metallic at all. It looks like carbon deposits. Various things can cause this. It's normally found in diesel and turbocharged vehicles. I mean, not anything like this, but as you can see, it sort of like just breaks off in like little lumps. You can just sort of like, yeah, pick it off. So I'm assuming the oil hasn't been changed in a long time. I mean, this does now feed into how the turbo failed, the previous one failed, but the oil feed seemed to work. I mean, I'm surprised the oil feed's not clogged either. I suppose maybe the oil filter's doing its job. But the state of that, I've never seen anything like it. So I wonder if this is the cause of the previous turbo failure. I mean, we've got new filters anyway, so we're going to stick that in. I just hope it hasn't done any further damage inside the engine. I mean, I know the car was running when it came. It didn't sound great, but anyway, I think we'll do this. So we've so obviously the filter we've changed. I've just seen how bad that is. I've put more oil in it. What I'm going to do is stick this engine flush in. What it does is it sort of breaks down and loosens all the carbon deposits, and all the sludge and gunk that gets built up in old oil. So I'm going to do that, run the engine for I think it's 10 or 15 minutes, and while it's running with this, it'll be dislodging everything, and hopefully the new oil filter will be catching all the rubbish that it's sort of dislodging and having go around the engine. So once we've done that, we'll drop the oil again and change the filter, and we'll see what the filter, which, you know, this is fresh oil and a fresh filter, we'll see how much gunk it's caught. Hopefully that will help, and then we'll put another new filter in and another 5.5 litres of oil and see if the engine's any better. So I'm not quite sure how clear it is, but there is some There you go, there's some there, some in there. So the oil filter's done a reasonable job, I suppose. I mean, it's done a job anyway, to try and capture a load of, yeah, look, there's a load in there as well. A load of those carbon deposits. So what we're going to do is we'll check the oil as well, see if we can tell anything from that. I can't see a whole lot of metallic in there, but anyway, we'll have a look at the oil and yeah, see if it's any better. So this is what we took out of it. There's nothing metallic in there. I don't think. It's a bit hard to tell really, but the oil's very black considering it's done pretty much 0 miles. Okay. I think what we'll do is put the new filter in and top up the oil and see how it sounds. Okay, so oil light's now gone out. Quite common, you have a new filter, and yeah, it's a noisy diesel, but so I think the noise that it was making when we started it up was possibly the oil pump. So unfortunately, this car needs a lot more than just a turbo, I think. It was brought out at auction, very cheap, not by me, by someone else. And it's just never really run right. It's turned up and it's arrived with a seized turbo, diagnosed with someone else. Got brought to me on a trailer, where I've checked the turbo and rightly it has seized. And unfortunately, turbo and the service, it's not really enough to solve the problems. But if you have one of these and you need to do a turbo on it, hopefully this video will be useful to any of you out there that might be trying to do a turbo on one of these. But that's it for now. I'll see you in the next video.